is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
"30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee," featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Sindrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a Monday afternoon, and yeah, it's got a little bit of blue to it. MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro will join us in just a few moments. Let me say hello real quickly to Coach Watson Brown, who joins us from up on the plateau. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm good. You look good in blue today, bud.
You know what? We've got blue taken care of. We've got the helmet. Helmet looks good.
Oh, it looks good.
I've got blue. The backdrop to the show's got a little blue. Chris Massaro, who is in the green room, is definitely wearing blue. By the way, it's not a green room. I thought that would sound so good. So guess what we start today, Watson?
What do we start today with, George?
We start Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update.
Fantastic. Good to see
And guess
Terry,
what?
huh?
Yeah, and guess what? He's got sponsors. Billy, do you read those sponsors first?
Yes, I do, George.
That's exciting.
Terry's got a couple sponsors. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners. They're proven to be trusted with your most personal asset, the Justin Tucker team. Call them at 615-906-8458. And also, George, Sumner Funeral and Cremation. They are sharing their family with yours in your time of need, now with 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and Hendersonville, and online at sumnerfuneral.com. Sumner Funeral and Cremation, traditional, affordable, and dignified.
Terry, I will not get into a lot of the normal banner that we usually do. Tell us what's going on with the Titans and when all this starts with training camp.
Well, George, it all comes about on tomorrow. You know, basically, tomorrow is it. Oh, I need to turn my camera on, it says. Okay.
No, that's a good idea. This is a TV show,
see.
Terry.
I thought it automatically came on. Let's see.
Well, nothing happens automatically.
Let's see. Let's see if we can make this work here.
This is exciting. Keep talking, though, while you're doing this, Terry.
This
okay,
would be great
I
radio.
will.
This would be great radio.
This is good radio right here.
So, Terry, what all will they do over the next couple of days?
Well, George, I think we just lost Terry.
Well, that was a hell of a report.
Great report.
That was really good stuff. You know what? We'll try to get him back. This stuff happens in live TV. Billy, do you have an update?
I do.
That Watson
George.
and I can comment on.
I do have an update.
Let's hear it.
The Boston Celtics are nipping at the heels of Kevin Durant. Apparently, there's a lot of buzz right now for Boston potentially grabbing Kevin Durant. So that's the biggest piece of news, even though it's not really news.
Watson, how in the world do you have one basketball for both Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum?
I hope it was better than Harden's. How do you say it? I can't say it like
James Harden.
Harden. That one didn't work too good. Let's hope this one does. That could be a big get now for the Celtics, though.
Oh my God.
That could be an over the hump for the Celtics now. They weren't far this year. So
No, I mean,
that's pretty good.
Let's be honest. If they were to get Kevin Durant, they rise above Golden State as far as being the favorite for next season. And for New Jersey, I keep calling them that, Brooklyn, this sends them into the abyss.
Yep. They were already headed there anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This will speed up the process. That's all.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. What's the second one, Billy?
Well, George, the Chicago mayor, the situation on the Dome Stadium, I'm not real clear. I got your note. It just says Chicago Mayor Dome Stadium.
So she has now formally proposed this. You know, it's been rumored for a while that this is what's going to go on. Watson, do you see the Bears in a Dome Stadium?
No, but for some reason, I think it's still out there. I do. In the long run, I don't, but I think it's going to hang around a while.
Yeah. Well, that's what she's proposing. I think the Bears are basically going to turn around and say, listen, ma'am, we've made a deal with the Arlington racetrack people, and that's where this thing is. You are late to the party. That's what I think is going to happen.
I do too. It may take a while to pull it off, but I think you're right. That's where they'll end up.
Item number three,
George, and I know you're not happy about this one. Adam Duvall is set for season-ending left wrist surgery. The Braves looks like they're going to be in the market for an outfielder after learning that Duvall is done for the season. They did not need that.
No, this is a tough loss for them. Watson, a couple of weeks ago, he and his wife had a baby, and I texted him. He had just hit a mammoth homer, and I texted him that congratulations on the baby, and by the way, the ball just landed in Franklin, Tennessee, and he got a big kick out of that. For those who don't know, Adam Duvall lives in the Nashville area and participated in our bowling deal a year ago. So I root for him. I think two things came out of yesterday, Watson. Number one, they are probably now going after an outfielder. Do not be shocked if they go back to a well they've gone to before, Jorge Soler. Remember that name?
I remember the name well. I think that'd be a good move if you ask me.
The second part is with Ian Anderson really struggling, and yesterday may be the worst start I've ever seen him have. I think the Braves are going after a starting pitcher on not necessarily like a Max Scherzer, but somebody that can eat some innings, that they can, 6 innings, 3 runs kind of person. I now think they're going for at the deadline.
Wouldn't be surprised at all because of Anderson. I agree with you. And now he can come out of this. I mean, it's amazing to me how we just a couple of bad outings and all of a sudden you're done. That amazes me. But I can't see him winning it without him again, George. No matter who they pick up, I can't see him winning it without him.
No, I'm with you on that. Okay, Terry apparently is with us. Terry, nice backdrop today. What do you got back there?
This is the office up here at the newspaper and all. So
really?
There you go.
So you actually work for a living?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay, you gave us some great info on the first piece.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you maybe, expound a little?
Yes. Training camp opens tomorrow. That's when the players will report and, guys will have their physicals, their conditioning, and all that sort of good stuff. And then the first practice will be on Wednesday, George, at 9:30 in the morning. There's a little bit of news coming out of Titans camp yesterday. Obviously, they got all their draft picks signed now, finally agreeing to terms with second-round pick Roger McCreary, third-round pick Malik Willis. So they're in the fold and ready to go. The rookies have actually been here since Saturday. So They did a couple of moves. They brought back Josh Kalu. You may remember him from a couple of years ago, special teams guy, backup safety, that type of player. He had signed with the Giants last year, then landed on injured reserve. The Giants decided not to bring him back, so the Titans decided to give him another go here in Nashville. And then they placed 3 guys on the PUP list. A couple of them are fairly significant. Tommy Hudson, who's a tight end that they've had some high hopes for over the last couple of years, but he was injured during the OTAs and was unable to, had to be carted off the field, actually. So he's not going to be ready to start the season. And then Monty Rice, who underwent Achilles surgery after suffering that injury late last year, he's not going to be ready to start camp either. So it's looking like that the good news on that front is that a couple of guys that you were wondering about maybe that are going to be key to this year, Caleb Farley, the first-round pick from last year, Robert Woods, who came over from the Rams, both those guys coming off knee injuries, and neither one of them landed on PUP. So that's good for the Titans starting out, that those guys are going to be completely available.
Terry, this is such a big moment for the show, getting you on camera and actually having a backdrop that doesn't look like Al Jazeera television. Thank you so much.
That was what I was going for.
Remember, it's a TV show. Let's get your face in there.
Yes. Apparently it was not my doing. It was the computer's doing, because I had to reboot the thing in order to get the camera to show up. So there you go.
Wow. So have you penalized the computer?
I better not. It's the company's.
Nice. Talk to you
Dave
tomorrow.
might not like that.
No. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right. See you guys. See you, Watson.
See you.
So Billy, who sponsors Terry's Daily Titans Update?
Sumner Funeral and the Justin Tucker team, George.
Beautiful.
So,
okay.
Yeah, got those out.
When we come back, there is absolutely a reason for this helmet. MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro, one of my favorites, will join us in studio. Stick around. This is going to be interesting. This is Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
We are back on this Monday afternoon, and thanks for being with us. We are joined in studio by MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro. How are you?
I'm doing great, George.
How was the green room?
The green room was fantastic. I've been in a lot of green rooms in my life, but the shrimp cocktails and the food and the booze and stuff was some of the best I've ever been around.
That's beautiful. And of course, you know Watson.
I do. Hey, Watson.
As well.
How's it going, Coach?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
So the obvious place to start is this. Every piece of news that's out there is about what's going to be done for the Power Fives, those 50 some odd schools that all, seem to be holding the upper hand to everything. I never hear anybody bring up the MTSUs or the Memphises who are fighting for their place in this pie. How discouraging is this for you?
Oh, I think there's an inevitability about it. So I don't know if it's discouraging. I mean, in some ways, it's kind of fascinating just to watch. And I've told my colleagues in the Power 5 leagues to be careful. Just because you're in a Power 5 league doesn't make you a Power 5 school. And I think some of them now are staring at that reality that, you know what, that this little empire that was built by other brands, we might be diminished. So I think there's a little bit of panic there. Whenever there's movement at the top, that it filters down to the group of five, and it impacted us quite a bit a year ago. And I would think the chances of that happening again in the next year are strong as well.
The first of a lot of dumb questions here. Do you see anybody that's in the Power 5 that's worried about y'all?
Oh, no. One of my complaints or one of the degree of sadness that I have kind of towards the end of my career is that there's nobody that's a steward of the game. There's nobody looking out for the game itself. And I worry about that. And, when I hear, well, we just got to do what's best for the school, or we just got to do what's best for the conference. And there's not this collective good that we need to keep in mind. I worry a little bit if there's this great contraction of leagues, then maybe it'll be more regionalized. And if you lose the West Coast and you lose the East Coast, then college football is not going to be as popular nationally. I think one of the strengths of college football is that there's a game basically played on almost every street corner from Division III all the way up to Ohio State and some of the big boys. And what I worry about is if it gets too expensive to play college football, or football gets marginalized to where it's only played at a handful of schools in the next few decades, then the opportunities for football are going to be really diminished. And that would be sad. And I think in the long run, that'll cost people money too. Right now, the only thing that seems to be the driver is who's got the biggest television contract. And we need to have more values in our decision making. There's a lot more to higher ed than the TV contract.
Watson, butt in here, because obviously you've got a lot of opinions about where we're going. So feel free to chime in here.
Well, I'll hit on just what he just brought up, Chris. Till we get away from all decisions now are made off of the dollar, I don't know where we're going to go, because that wasn't the way it used to be. Honestly, the dollar's always mattered, but even 20 years ago, Chris, It wasn't this. And back when I was at UAB as an AD, as you are, the dollar mattered. There's no doubt. We had to figure out how to make budgets meet just like you still do today. But every decision wasn't made off of, can we make another million? Can we make another $500,000 by doing this and sacrifice everything? I mean, of course, football's the driving piece, Chris, but what about baseball? What about track? What about golf? I mean, and so, well, the heck with that. We don't care if they got to travel 8 million miles or whatever. We got to make the most money that we can make. And I don't see an end to this, Chris. If these TV packages keep going up and up and up, how do you turn it down? I mean, there's a buying point for everybody. And when it gets up there like it did for UCLA and Southern Cal, that's a lot more money than they were bringing in. So I can't blame them. But when's it going to stop?
Well, I don't think it will stop. I mean, that I keep waiting for these market corrections. And you mentioned UCLA, coach, and I just can't help but think of their softball program. I mean, they are in Oklahoma City just about every year. They're a nationally prominent softball program and has built their program on playing the California schools. So all of a sudden in February and early March, the UCLA softball team's got to go play a 3-game series in East Lansing, Michigan. And that's just the weather elements and everything involved, or to go to State College, Pennsylvania, and all of those things, to take them out of their natural habitat and to put them where they are. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't see that. I know the money will help, but in the long run, I'm not sure if that really helps their program, and we don't look at the overall picture and all of the sports. And, we're always been a little bit hypocritical in college athletics, but, here we are going to celebrate Title IX 50 years, and everybody puts out on Twitter, oh, happy anniversary Title IX, and all those kind of things. And we speak, every AD tweets it out. And then, we make these decisions that run contrary to women's athletics, and so I'm not real happy about the direction it's going. I worry about the NCAA basketball tournament when you have some commissioners talking about, well, maybe we don't need at-large bids or as many at-large bids. And to me, that's, I should say, automatic qualifiers, not at-large. The AQs. And if they start taking the AQs away, then I think the basketball tournament really loses its flavor, and so to me as a sports fan, that would be tragic, because to me, that's one of the top sporting events in the world. And I love the NCAA basketball tournament. And so we need to do everything we can to preserve the culture and the feel and the excitement of those first 48 hours of the basketball tournament are some of the best in sports. So that's what I worry about. I hope that in our chase and our zest, and I get some of it, some of them they have to do it to keep up with the Joneses. But I hope we don't really hurt ourselves in the long run by doing some of this stuff.
George, one quick thing with that, and I'll throw it back to you and let you have him another time. But I also worry, Chris, I was a football coach and an AD. I came up through football. When all this money is coming through football, I worry about these ADs being pushed by a lot of people to put way too much money in football and not pass this money these Power Fives are going to start making around to the other sports. And that could be a disaster too. Have you thought in that way, or am I off my rocker with that?
Well, I think it can happen. If I think the Big Ten and the SEC are probably okay that there's enough TV money to spread around. In some ways, they have to be a little bit creative in spending it all. So I don't worry about those, but I worry about some of the more mid-range Power Fives that may have to cut sports. If you're a Kansas State, and how do you keep up with a Texas or somebody like that? And then maybe you cut back on your sport offerings, or you don't put as much money into those sport offerings. So that's a way that you can catch up to the football piece of it. So I think in the long run, that's going to really hurt. I think that the NCAA kind of sees that, and they've tried to work with the Olympic governing bodies on some of the sports, and maybe there's some funding there and those kind of things, because as those sports get cut, it is going to hurt the Olympics. And so there's always a trickle-down effect.
Is there a morale issue that this creates, where you have a coach walk in one day and say, what's the point? We have no chance.
No, I don't think so, George. I think that, maybe Watson would be better qualified to answer that question. The coaches I've been around they want to win the next Saturday, and they want to win the conference and those kind of things, and then take it from there and play on that national stage. I think that what you see is a little bit of, I think the morale on coaches is quite honestly the work that's involved now. You mentioned the NIL, and they're having to recruit every day now. And we've had campus visitors all summer long. There's been no downtime for our coaching staff. And so that'll add up. I worry about that. I worry about the coaches' mental well-beings, because with the transfer portal and everything going on in the NIL, and coaches trying to raise the money for their collectives and all those kind of things is associated with the NIL, that there's no downtime. I mean, and so their very busy schedule just got dumped on even more so. And I think we're going to lose some coaches to that. We've seen it with Bronco Mendenhall and, at Virginia. And I think you'll see more taking the escape hatch, maybe to the NFL and other places where it might be a little forgiving, this work-life balance.
Let's go this scenario, because I know it's going on. There's a kid in your basketball program. I'm not naming any names, but this kid has sort of a breakout sophomore year. And this kid, it's obvious, can play at a higher level, but Middle was the one who took the shot at him.
Right.
More power to Middle. Well, now all of a sudden, the way the thing's set up, this kid's got 15 schools in his ear, in his dorm room, saying, you don't need to play at that level. You can come play at our level, be on TV more. How in the world do you compete with that?
Yeah, and I don't know if you can. I mean, what we try to do and we emphasize to our coaches is just, the culture. And our coaches, George, I mean, that we hire people that are interested in the total student body, this total student athlete, and worry about their grades, want to make sure they graduate and all those kind of things. And as these relationships get more transactional, I think eventually that'll get more important, and so I think we're positioned pretty well for it. We're going to lose people like that, as you described, but we've got a chance to gain some too. Being in the middle of the food chain and the NIL, I think we're okay. I try to tell our coaches, we can't just gnash our teeth over the ones that we might lose, but let's come out each year and out of the portal and be a net positive. And that's got to be our goal. So if we lose that star, well, maybe we can get two guys that can fill that out of the portal or whatever. So that's going to happen. We just need to prepare ourselves for it.
After the break, we'll talk with MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro about football and about scheduling, because in his area of the world, he has been one of the best schedulers you can find anywhere. We'll explain that when we come back. This is Main Street Media Television.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Have you heard about the high levels of race? It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Durant Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DurantRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DurantRadonMitigation.com.
I think journalism is like politics. It's all local. And I think Main Street Media has really hit on something that I've been preaching for 50 years, and keep the news local, right? Local stories for local readers, and that's what I like about Main Street Media. I finally found somebody who agrees with me philosophically about concentrate on local subjects, local topics, and you'll bring your readers in.
We are back as we welcome all of you in. Chris Massaro is MTSU's athletic director, and he is with us in studio. Over the years in football, you have gotten, and I tried to think through all these, BYU, Mississippi State, Maryland, Minnesota, Virginia. You have gotten some big boys to come play you more than any school in the country on your level. How have you pulled that off?
Well, we've been very fortunate, George. I mean, that we all know because we're all local here, but being in the area that we're in, people want to come. You know, we're not at the end of the road and those kind of things. So that was selling Nashville, selling the area. It's a good trip for your fans, those kind of things. And then being real strategic about it, like, who may not want to pay the big guarantees and be more willing to do a home and home kind of event. And so that's what we did. And we had a lot of success on it. Just this year, we were supposed to open with Missouri, and we'd done a home and home with them. And they informed us in about October or November that they did not want to come to Murfreesboro, and we're not coming to Murfreesboro. So we scrambled around and tried to talk them into it, and they wanted to buy the game and have it go to Missouri. And I'm like, just the principle of it, I really didn't want to do that. And so we just agreed not to play this year. They paid the separation agreement. And so we scheduled at James Madison. So they were kind of the other SEC school I was going to be really excited about to be able to come on your show and say, man, we got Missouri. And to be fair, it's harder and harder to get these schools. So what we talked about in the first segment is the bigger their TV contracts get, the less willing that they are going to be to go away from home, that they just want to sit there and buy their opponents. And some of the networks are going to expand from eight conference games to nine conference games so they can get more on the Big Ten network or the Pac-12 network, whatever it might be. So we'll deal with that as well. So they're harder to get now than they were 10 years ago, but we still want to try fishing a little bit.
Okay, let's bring Watson back in here, because Watson, you've played the athletic director role as well. Did you have much success in that area of getting the big guy to come play you?
To be honest, not as much as Chris has. In my early years there at UAB, we were really just starting, and we had to go 2-for-1s, and Chris knows that's a killer. I think we did that with Kansas. We did that with Virginia Tech. My latter years, we did get Baylor and Mississippi State to come in home and home. But it's hard, and Chris has nailed it. Chris, my question to you is, when I was at UAB and we had that deal put on us that we had to knock the budget down $1 million a year to save football. And that was the budget down, not football budget, but the athletic department budget down $1 million a year. The two ways I could do it, go raise money. And you know as well as I do, raising money for a budget is the hardest thing in the world to do. They don't even want to listen to you with that one. And the second thing was go play people on the road for the Bucks. Is that still a part of scheduling? Do you have to make sure you bring in so much money through the schedule, Chris? Is it as much as it used to be? I see you're traveling to Miami is the only one that I saw that might bring you some pretty good bucks. Where is that in today's world and in your schedule? And the second piece of that real quick, are you going to have to go more now toward the group of fives for home and homes? Because you nailed it. The power fives are not going to come near as much as when they start getting these kind of bucks.
It's still, yeah, that still exists, Watson, that you need that payday, and those kind of things. And, to go play Miami for whatever, $1.5 million, I mean, that's a lot easier than, as you said, trying to raise it $1,000 at a time or $5,000 at a time. So that still exists. Most of us play one of those games. What I'm trying to get our schedule to be now is one game where we get bought and then use that money to buy a FCS game and then play 2 home and homes. And I'd like some of those home and homes to be stretch home and homes. They might be group of 5, but well-known group of 5s. We'd love to start playing Memphis again. We'd love to play, the military schools and some of those that have really great brand recognition. So that those are good areas. And then the one thing that this conference realignment's done is you got a lot of former partners out there that you know pretty well, and they know your stadium and those kind of things. So ex-conference mates make good out of conference. We just signed and announced a couple months ago a couple game series with Marshall, which in CUSA, that was always one of our best games and draws well, and it's local. You can bus to it and those kind of things. So those are the kind of games that I like. I mean, and I think we're going to really try to play more of those kind of games.
That would make sense, George. One last thing, I'll give it back to you again. The other thing, Chris, that is hard is getting those home games. And I saw I guess you've got 5 this year. Are you trying to stay on a 5-7-6-6 when you do that 1-bye and then home and home? Is that what that would turn out, or is it going to end up being 6-6 every year?
I would love to get to 6-6 every year. Where you have that split. We had it this year till Missouri backed out on us. And that hurts you. I think next year we might have 6. We still have to return our game to Missouri. So our first 2 games next year, which is the last time in our future schedules where we play 2 Power 5 teams, is we've got Missouri and Alabama. So Coach Stock might want to get suspended for the first 2 games or something, so he doesn't have to maybe go to those places. So
been there, done that.
we do have those too, and that's where you get caught a little bit when you're trying to schedule the home and homes. Where if you play 1 Power 5 at home, in 1 year, that means you got to go to that place the next year. And if you still need a bye game, that means you're going to have 2 Power 5s on the road, and that can really hurt your football program. So that's the last year we're going to do that. I think we're going to try to keep a lot of it with, like I said, with group of 5s and ex-conference mates. I mean, seeing you on the screen, I mean, that UAB is a great game. We've had conversations with them. I mean, they're 3 hours down the road, and now that we're in different conferences, we had some great games. And so let's keep playing. So those are good. That's one of the offshoots of conference realignment, is it's kind of helped some of the non-conference scheduling with some of that, and also in basketball as well.
Okay, Honk, if you've heard these questions before, because you have. Number one, is Memphis willing to play you?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
We're in talks. Yeah, we're in talks. So I think that we'll get something done. But yeah, that they've been willing to do a home and home.
So what's question number two?
My guess would be Vanderbilt.
Johnny, what does he win?
I haven't had a ton of talks with Vanderbilt. We had some, and Candace is great, and she's a good friend of mine, their AD. This is our 50th anniversary of the Murphy Center, and we opened it on December 11th, 1972 against the Commodores. And so a year ago, it was like, hey, this is a great idea. Let's bring back Vandy for a basketball game, and sell the history piece. We'll play two at their place and one at ours, kind of that 2-for-1 that Watson was talking about. And they seemed interested. They really did. And we had some good conversations. And then I think we messed up a little bit because Nick won 26 games and they weren't quite as interested, and so I'm just not sure where all that falls. I would love to play Vanderbilt. I think local games are really important.
Oh, I think it's good for the community.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to say sitting in this chair because I'm not the one if the Vandy group loses and all of a sudden everybody's all over their coaches. But still, when you see the excitement, the night Jay Cutler drove them down the length of the field and you block the field goal attempt at the buzzer and win.
Jeremiah Weaver.
I mean, that place, that was as loud as I had heard that stadium in a long time.
Those are great memories. And, they came down to our place and won a fourth quarter tight game about 4 or 5 years ago. And so we did, we played a 5-game series with them.
Yep.
So they've been good. They've been good partners to us. And so we would like that to continue. That if you notice, we play our first home game this year is against Tennessee State. And I love that game. And we're talking to them about more. I'd be willing to play at Nissan Stadium and play, be the visiting team there as well. I think it's important, and if I want to play local, then I have to walk the walk. And the Tennessee State game's great for us. It's great for them. And I'm so excited for September 17th. And I hope everybody's comes out for that. It'll be a great game.
For being our guest today, you get your helmet back. Hold on to that.
I want to see.
That looks good. That looks really good.
We got a blue one with the blue face mask and stuff. I kind of
good looking helmet.
Since if things get rough, I thought maybe you could put it on.
Things do get rough. Thanks. Do you want to stick around and participate in Stat of the Day?
Sure.
Because it's been embarrassing for us.
Oh.
I'll explain more when we come back. You're watching Main Street Media Television.
I've done sports. I've been a photographer. I've been an editor. I've been a producer. I've been a reporter. I've been an anchor. I mean, I've done every job you could possibly imagine this. And so sports was a way to have fun and be different. But then I realized community is where it's at, and community and local and doing places and going, seeing people. And, sports, you go to a stadium, everybody celebrates and they go their different ways. But community-wise, there's so much going on.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
Tell us about One Stop Realty.
So as I've said before, George, One Stop Realty is the hometown brokerage for all your real estate needs. We've been around since 1974. I took ownership of the company in 2019. We've added agents. We have expanded into building up our property management. The growth with our agents is fantastic. We added 3 new agents in the past couple months. Angela Hyatt, Nathan Skelly, and Crystal Locke have all joined us, and they're going to be fantastic agents. They're ready to help you in all your residential, your commercial, property management, and auction needs. We are a family business, and we want to help your family find your next property in Middle Tennessee. Office number is 615-822-0750. My cell phone, 615-440-7011, or the website, onestoprealtytn.com. And you can also find us on Facebook. I encourage everybody to go out and like and follow our page, just as the same we did with George Platt.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports card, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
At Sumner Funeral and Cremation, our mission is to serve families as our own, celebrate the life of their loved one, and help begin the healing process.
My whole family, including my wife and my mom and siblings, were very happy with the treatment that we received. I would highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation.
We offer funeral, burial, cremations, and pre-planning services.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Let's be honest. Stat of the day, while a great idea, Watson has had its pitfalls.
Well, you got a blind leading the blind here that's been doing it for 2 years. So what do you expect?
Three blind mice.
We got 3 blind
No,
mice.
I'm not giving Chris in this one.
No.
He don't deserve that.
Well, but I felt like he needed to stick around to see how
we
hard.
need some help, yes, but I'm not going to put him into the blind.
Okay, Billy, let's pop up the question.
Well, we got to get to the ad read first, George.
No question.
John English Vintage Sports and Cards brings us the stat of the day. They are specializing in antique and historical sports equipment, games, advertising, and other sport-related items. You can visit them in Shelbyville, Tennessee, open Tuesdays through Fridays from noon to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Visit JohnEnglishGradedCards.com. Today's question, George, baseball. Which father-son MLB duo had the same amount of career home runs?
Oh, good Lord.
I saw this the other day.
Did you?
And I can't remember it though.
Let me ask you this. Now we're gonna talk through this a little bit before we give an answer. The first one that comes to mind for me would be Buddy Bell and his dad, Gus Bell. Does that ring a bell? Do you like that? Does that ring a bell at all for you?
No,
No,
it did not.
Okay. father-son duo. Okay, it would not have been Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. because
I think
Jr. hit a ton of homers, way more than his dad. Watson, you seem fairly quiet at the moment. Not hearing much from your precinct.
This was a little over my head, George.
I want to. The Alou brothers played. Did their father play? I want to say it's somewhere down in those.
They were all brothers. Felipe, Jesus, and Matty.
But it was like the guy just hit a home run like on his last day, and it tied his dad.
Father-son duo.
And it was
dad gum. There were brothers, Tommy and Hank Aaron, and that really doesn't apply. Father and son.
Barry and Bobby Bonds wouldn't be.
Whoa. Hold on. I think you've helped me. Brett Boone, Bob Boone.
I think that could be it. I think it could be the Boones.
We're getting bad vibes
no.
over to the left.
What are some of the other father-sons? The Guerreros.
But Vladimir, the father, has had way more.
I'm just trying to name even father-son we could think about. Tatis,
okay, keep going.
The Tatis. Fernando Jr.
Okay, stop there. Let's go with that one. Otherwise, we may be here for a while.
All right. That's the answer?
Yeah.
Cecil and
that was the next one I was saying.
Well, you know what? Say it, Watson.
I didn't get that right.
I was going to the Fielders next. I was.
Oh, wow. I never thought about them. Great question. Get rid of it.
That's amazing, too.
Get rid of it. So, Chris, you've had your first visit. You've been to the green room.
The green room was
it worth the drive?
The green room was better than the stat of the day because that stumped me. So
that's tough stuff.
So that was tough.
Thanks
Sorry I
for
couldn't
coming
help
in
it. Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it. That's MTSU.
See you, Watson.
Athletic Director.
Good luck,
Chris
man.
Massaro.
Thanks.
I think I've gotten from him that he's ready for the games to begin. Go ahead, get on out of here. Let's turn off his headset because we're going to start the 5 o'clock hour.
George, I got a little ad read here.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
This helps us
That'll
out
be
a
a
lot.
good stall.
Oh, yeah. Great stall. The 5 o'clock hour is powered by Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint. The Plaster Show 5 o'clock hour brought to you by Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint combines state-of-the-art orthopedic service with a family atmosphere. Whether it's a sports injury, a sprained ankle, or a major joint replacement, Middle Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic has the staff, training, and equipment needed to take care of any patient in any circumstance. Their mission is to provide high-quality, specialized orthopedic care in a compassionate manner to the people of Columbia and Middle Tennessee. Visit mtbj.net for more info.
Okay, we start the 5 o'clock hour with Jordan Stallings, who looks a lot better than either one of us do on camera, Watson. Let's bring her up here. Jordan, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I think we got to turn her mic back on.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Can you? Okay.
Excellent. So, who in the family is watching this right now?
Today, I do not know because we're about to go to a birthday dinner for my mom and I. So I don't know who's getting ready for that, but I would assume my parents are.
Okay. So you have interviewed Boston Celtics forward Luke Kornet, who played for your dad at Vandy.
Yes.
If I read it right, did I not see where he just signed a new deal with the Celtics?
Yes. He just re-signed for 2 years, which is really exciting.
So he's feeling pretty good that maybe he's found a home there.
Yes. And I've seen where Brad Stevens, who's the president, and Ime Udoka, their head coach, have both said that they're really high on Luke. And after interviewing him, I can see why, because he's just one of a kind. A joy to coach from what my dad has said, but he's a great human.
See, I knew his dad, Frank Kornet, who I did some of his games back in the 80s. All of this makes me feel really old. But anyway, let's go to the interview. Jordan Stallings and Boston Celtics forward Luke Kornet.
Everyone, I'm Jordan Stallings, and today we are doing another very special interview with someone who is a Vanderbilt basketball alum. He just made his first finals appearance with the Boston Celtics, and recently, earlier this week, re-signed for 2 years with the Celtics. Luke Kornet, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jordan. Appreciate it.
Of course. So you played for my dad at Vanderbilt, and you are one of his all-time favorite players. So with that comes a lot of stories and bragging from him about the people that he loved. So one thing he really bragged about you for was not only how smart you were on the court, but off the court. You're a genius and excelling at Vanderbilt academically in a engineering and math double major, and computer science. Was it engineering and computer science?
Yeah.
And math double major. You were going to be successful no matter what you did after college. But when did you decide that you really wanted to play basketball professionally?
Yeah, that was it's pretty interesting because I feel like when I got recruited and went to Vanderbilt, it was like I definitely enjoyed playing basketball, but I really thought like, going in like the school and the academics, and I was going to be working in some sort of professional field elsewhere. So like when I came in, that was kind of like the full expectation. I kind of like to think of it as like, if I started off thinking like this was, a job outside of basketball and I was here, it was just like, as my time kind of went through Vandy, it just like slowly started moving. And I would say it probably wasn't until after my freshman year, we kind of got back into like spring and summer workouts. And I think I just like kept growing and kept getting like a little bit stronger and things like that, where I started realizing like, oh, maybe I actually could do this, because I was used to kind of being like underdeveloped physically and struggling in that end, and just like starting to have some sort of positive feelings on that side. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome to really be able to play professionally. Although, I mean, it was kind of like after that summer where I was like, all right, this is definitely something where I want to do this, but you have no idea. And so I kept kind of thinking like, all right, I'm going to have this backup plan, or like being prepared on that side. But by the time I got to being like a junior and senior, I was pretty much fully like realizing like I wanted to play professionally, and like Lord willing, without injuries and stuff like that, I would be able to. So yeah, that was definitely the progression for it. I didn't really, everyone wants to be a professional basketball player when they're a kid, and I definitely was that. But I had like a reality even in high school when I wasn't really getting recruited, like, all right, this might not happen. And I think that was like a blessing to keep myself engaged on like the school side of things and all that. But it was incredible to be able for it to work out the way it did.
Yeah, that's awesome. You have your professional career that started in 2017 has taken you to the Knicks and the Bulls and then the Celtics, and you started this season with their G League team, the Maine Celtics. Tell me about when December rolled around and the difficulties you kind of faced with 2 back-to-back 10-day contracts, or with the Bulls and the Bucks, and just how that was for you.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, the Cavs. Sorry, the Cavs.
Yeah, it was the Bucks and Cavs. Like, so yeah, like it was a interesting year just even like going to Maine in the first place. Like I had some injuries through that time in like Chicago, and then when I was in Boston a little bit, and I had to have like surgery in the off season. It was kind of like the whole year was thinking of like, all right, like rebuilding, like trying to get back to healthy and showing I can kind of play the way I can. And so that December came rolling around, and basically the whole half the league was out with COVID, and teams, their rosters were like fluctuating day by day. Where we had arrived to like the little G League showcase tournament, and then it's like, all right, most people are probably not going to be leaving here with their G League teams. They're probably going to be leaving on 10 days. So then I ended up being called up by Cleveland, like, and it was right at Christmas time too. And we're supposed to have a break of going back to my wife's family for Christmas, and they were up in Maine, and then like all of a sudden all that stuff's like flipping, and I ended up able to get them into Cleveland for Christmas, which was not what we were expecting to spend our Christmas, but it was really a blessing, and like being able to go with those teams and be a part of it for a few days. But it was also like on the family side of things, especially when it's the holidays, and like we have our first child, a daughter, and like flying her around and like changing all these plans and stuff. It was interesting of noticing like the real difficulties and sacrifices that you and your family are kind of being forced to make, and trying to make it like work well. Also like acknowledging it for like the blessing and opportunity that it is. So it was a bit of a whirlwind, but it was a unique experience. And I think it helped me learn a lot more about like what it is that I'm really like looking for in this career and what I like hope to be bringing as myself as a member of a team, but also like as a husband and as a father, like for my family. So it was a really great learning experience on that side of things.
That's great. We're going to get more into the role that you played on my dad's team and that you play on your current team at the end of the interview. But I'm sure you were very relieved when in February, you signed with the Celtics for the rest of the season. But I have to ask, since I'm interning for a Nashville, Tennessee sports show, Grant Williams is one of your teammates, and he played at Tennessee. And then Steve Changane is one of my dad's former players who graduated before you did. But is there any trash talk that happens between the three of you that's Vanderbilt versus Tennessee, or is the peace kept?
There definitely is. Yeah, it's kind of because I was able to play Grant for 1 year. So I like knew him a little then, and then also just playing, you get to know him better. And so there's always a little Vanderbilt, Tennessee talk. And then, yeah, Steve, who I was able to, like, he would come back in the summers when I was in school. And like, we like worked out together and stuff like that. So it was there's a lot of good, Vanderbilt, Tennessee banter. And he just is now in Indiana, but Aaron Neesmith was on the team, another Vandy guy. And there's Evan Brads who played at Belmont when I was there. So there's a very strong, like, Nashville and Tennessee, like, I don't know, whatever games were going on, or like if anyone's playing each other, it was always a great topic of conversation and a little friendly banter. Yeah.
That's what I was expecting was probably happening. But the Celtics went on an amazing playoff run, and you guys ended up making it to the finals to play against the Warriors. When you look back at that time, what is one memory that you're going to think about?
Well, I'll say like two things. Like, one, the entire run was, I was just like, it was an incredible experience to be a part of, and a real like gift of a time, because it was like every round. It's funny when you're like in the finals and there's two teams in the finals, and it seems like, oh yeah, of course these are like the best teams. There's no looking back kind of thing. But I think you realize like how hard it was to get there, and that like two of our series went to 7 games especially, and like a lot of things had to break right, and then also you earned a lot of things, and kind of knowing that balance, and like being able to acknowledge that was very cool. Where it's like, and then you absolutely want to go and win the championship, but it's like hard, and every team's trying to do it, and you think that it's just like predestined and this like perfect little path for a team, but it takes a lot of like sacrifice and things going right and guys playing well and like injuries happening or not happening and all this stuff. And it's just like you're doing the best you can to have the best chance. But I think one moment that really sticks out was Game 4 against the Bucks, which was our second round. Like Al Horford, who's like the veteran guy on our team, had an incredible game. I think he had 30 points, and it was just like also such a beautiful time. And I feel like it was the perfect like description of that, because like there's some series and some games where it's like he could not take a shot, and then other games where it's called for him to like play great and have 30. And I think that was like one, it was a great moment for all of us, just like really be able to be happy for that moment for Al and stuff like that, but also like for all of us to just know and for it to be reinforced that a team is just a group of so many parts, and like it takes different guys. Like some guys have to step on in certain days, and other guys might have to like take a little lesser role. And the willingness to be able to do that is something that definitely like helps you in trying to become a champion and just win. And I think that game was a particularly awesome game and experience and moment. Yeah,
absolutely. So I asked my dad about what role you played on his teams as a leader, a teammate, and just the person that you are. Because like I said, you're one of his favorites, and I'll read to you what he said. So he said, Luke is a leader with a great personality and wit. So things were always humorous because of his input. He's outgoing, friendly, and a great teammate. He's smart on and off the court as well. I ran very complex offenses, and there were times I couldn't remember what a certain guy was supposed to do. And Luke always knew and helped me in my own coaching. So, I mean, my dad could go on forever talking about you, but you re-signed with the Celtics for 2 years this year, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But your role on that team is obviously valued. And what did you learn, either if it was from the 10 days that you wanted to play, about the role that you wanted to play on this team, or did you take from college, or is just your goal as a teammate and a leader?
Yeah, I think that's something that I'm still learning now, and was something like I was learning then and probably didn't really acknowledge it to the point that like I hope I've been able to now. And I think actually, frankly, I think like fatherhood has done a big role in kind of helping me understand that more. But I think like the biggest thing that I try to get to the point now is like I've been able to have times where I'm playing a lot and I've started games and I've also come off the bench and then I've also not been playing. And I think something I try to stand for a little bit and just try to like reinforce in other guys is I think for myself, I realized like almost like achieving your own personal ambitions. Like you should sort of have some of those, but the importance of like being willing to like sacrifice those for the team, because I really feel like the joy that comes in like winning and like growing and accomplishing together is like such a greater joy than like even doing things for yourself. So I think like that was something that this past year was like I was not really called on to play, and that's like it's a situation that you're in, and that's fine, and you still want to get better as a player and you still want to like prove that. But just like be able to, in that situation of like, all right, well, there's me and then like a group of a lot of like younger guys who aren't playing, but we still might be called on at any moment. So like when we're playing pickup and when we're doing our drill work and we're doing whatever it is, like to still have a seriousness about it and to know like basically like what you're doing in those moments is a lot more important than you think it is, even if you don't feel like it's contributing in the moment. So I felt like really trying to lead in that way, because I think I just noticed it for myself. Like when it came to being at Vanderbilt, when I came out as a freshman, like my first game I like didn't play, and we had Damian Jones, who was also a freshman, and he was like a very important member of the team right off the jump. And honestly, thankfully from experiences even in high school, it's like to not be discouraged by that and to know like all you can really kind of control is like yourself getting better and to be ready for that moment, and also to be a life-giving force to the group. And like there's going to be 15 guys on a team and there's not going to be 15 places for guys to play, and so like you have to be willing to accept that and to like still grow for like a larger role and wanting to play. But like you have a role in helping the team win in terms of like not making it a worse situation, in terms of like taking the play that you have seriously, so that when one of those guys is in the rotation, they're more prepared. And I think to really be successful, like as a group, like you kind of have to accept that. And I think that was something I like sort of like was learning in college, and I think has been like reinforcing this. And obviously you still want to play a ton, and like I definitely do, and I want to be able to take a larger step in terms of the role that I have like directly on the court. But like whatever role that it is that you're put in, that there's like value in it, and that there is a place for you to like serve and to do well in it.
Well, I can definitely see after hearing that why you are a coach's dream and a franchise's dream. And on and off the court, I know, and my family knows, that you are going to do great things regardless, and that you've done great things. So thank you, Luke, for doing this. We're going to continue to root for you, and my family is super proud of you. And I just can't thank you enough for doing this with me today.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. And I appreciate it. It means a lot. And I'm very thankful to like your dad and family for the role that they've played kind of in my development as a player and as a person. And yeah, no, God bless you guys. Yeah.
Well, of course. Thank you so much, Luke.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Jordan, he got to experience, I don't know what they call TD, whatever the name of the place is now. It used to be the Boston Garden.
Yeah.
But basketball in June up there, number one, they're used to it. It's very special with all those banners hanging out. What did he tell you off air about what that whole final series was like?
I think we didn't get much time to chat off air, but from what I've heard him talk about in other interviews, he really just stresses how great it was to see his teammates make big plays in big moments, and just getting to see his teammates step up to the role and taking a lesser role some nights or taking a bigger role other nights that they were needed. Like that, those are the moments that really brought him joy, and just how he got to, be on the scout team and act like he was Giannis Antetokounmpo in practice and like stuff.
Good luck on that.
Yeah. And just for him to be able to really contribute in that way. And he's just a great guy. So he wants to see and put others in places to succeed. And he That's just really what I've heard him talk about.
Beautiful. Listen, appreciate you doing this. Look forward to your next interview.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.
That's Jordan Stallings joining us here on the show. When we come back, it has been a tough weekend for a lot of us in the Nashville sports market. We have lost one of the real greats in Mark Howard, and we will talk about him when we come back. This is Main Street Media Television.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Tell us about One Stop Realty.
So, as I've said before, George, One Stop Realty is the hometown brokerage for all your real estate needs. We've been around since 1974. I took ownership of the company in 2019. We've added agents. We have expanded into building up our property management. The growth with our agents is fantastic. We added 3 new agents in the past couple months. Angela Hyatt, Nathan Skelly, and Crystal Locke have all joined us, and they're going to be fantastic agents. They're ready to help you in all your residential, your commercial, property management, and auction needs. We are a family business, and we want to help your family find your next property in Middle Tennessee. Office number is 615-822-0750. My cell phone, 615-440-7011. Or the website, OneStopRealtyTN.com. And you can also find us on Facebook. I encourage everybody to go out and like and follow our page, just as the same we did with George Plaster.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bar Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
We are back. This is a segment that I hoped I would never have to do, but I got a phone call yesterday that absolutely rocked me, and it's rocked a bunch of us who are in the Nashville sports community, and that is the news of the passing of a dear friend, Mark Howard, who had been at Channel 5 for years, later had been in the sports talk show business. And Watson, as I bring you back up here, it dawned on me a little while ago that Mark moved to Nashville. He had been a minor league baseball announcer in Evansville. He moved to our city about the time you came back to be Vanderbilt's head football coach.
Yes, I knew Mark at a young age. I hadn't been around him as much in the latter years, but you could tell he had charisma. He was good at what he did. He'd work at it. He'd try to find out info. I mean, I knew Mark was going to be good at what he did, George, and it was neat to me that Mark stayed in Nashville all these years. I don't know if he even ever left. I don't know, but with him, I just thought a lot of him at a young age. He was with Hope Hines, and having both of those cover you was interesting to say the least. But Mark was, I just knew. I knew he was going to be really good at what he did.
Well, let's start with this. In all of the years I've been in broadcasting, Watson, nobody knew more about sports. I used to say that he was a talk show without a signal when he was on television. Nobody knew more sports than Mark did.
No, I mean, and that's what I was getting at. I mean, even when he was so young, he'd work at it. He would dig around and try to find this, and he'd keep you on your toes. And so it doesn't surprise me, George, that you say that about him now through his latter years, that he had that kind of knowledge, because that's what stuck out to me when I was around Mark at a young age.
One of the things Willie Donick brought up to me after I called him to give him the news was one of the things that Mark never really got any credit for among people, and most wouldn't know it, is how much he tried to encourage young broadcasters. He was very encouraging at times to Willie, and at times it was almost good cop to bad cop, where I might be the bad cop as I was trying to get Willie to a certain level. And Mark was very encouraging to young broadcasters in this area.
Doesn't surprise me. Always, especially when I was around him, a positive kind of guy, smile on his face, an aggressive tone to him in a positive way, I guess is the way I would say it, George. And he just seemed to fit into the community even then. And I mean, gosh, he's probably my age. I was 30 something at that point. I was probably mid 30s. I was probably 35, I'd say, somewhere right in there. And he was about my age, and he just had that infectious, positive. You wouldn't. Some of the guys you just run off. You didn't want to be around them. Mark just wasn't one of those kind of guys. You didn't mind him being around. You'd sit and talk to him, and I knew he was always looking for something. But I just enjoyed being around Mark in those years.
Yeah, Watson, there were, gosh. Going back to 10 days ago, Mark, yeah, thank you for showing that. Greg Ruff sent me this photo. Left to right in the photo, Darren McFarland, Willie Donick, yours truly. You won't see me in a suit very often. Behind me is John Gromos, who was my color analyst in football at Vandy. Mark, Kevin Ingram, and it looks like this was at Kevin's wedding, and then Frank Wycheck with the white shirt on in the back. And, one of the things, Watson, that went on were these phone calls back and forth with him debating baseball. My God, we got into it to the bitter end. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we're on each other about which team truly is better, the defending world champions or his beloved Yankees?
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, that's just him. I mean, when he got into something, he was into it. He loved to have an opinion, and man, he would stay with
God.
it. I don't know if you call it hard-headed or what you call it, but
very.
You could not change his opinion. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And I remember saying this to him one time. I said, "Dang, Mark," he came in to interview me about something. I said, "You seem to have come in with already what you're going to talk about before you even asked me the question." and he just started laughing out loud. He never denied it either. So I'm not sure that was the case.
So, Watson, around 2004, I had just moved into the 104.5, the zone part of my career. And at that time, we were the only sports talk show on the station. And I went to Steve Dickert, the general manager, and I said, look, it's time to add a morning show. And the deal was that Mark was doing political talk. And I called him one night and I said, what the hell do you know about the Gaza Strip? You know, he was, and so they made the decision to create a morning show, which was a very successful morning show. It was Mark, Kevin Ingram, Frank Wycheck, and I got to tell you, they were terrific.
No doubt. I never was around during that time, but just those three names right there alone, that would be a heck of a show if you ask me. And that was neat that you started that, George, or got at least put that in the works and put it in somebody's mind to go in that direction, because that is a great threesome there.
Yeah, one of the things that they would do, Mark was a great traffic cop. And even though I've been in that role for years, he did it better than anybody I'd ever seen, because you had Kevin, who had all of these imitations, me included, and he's an incredible talent. Kevin is one of the most talented people that I've ever come across. And then you had Frank, who would slip into the football stories, and it was Mark's job to try to keep it all moving and keep it going. And, I thought at times he was brilliant at it. Not that I wanted to tell him that, but he really, he really was.
Well, it fits him though, doesn't it? I mean, that would be something I would think immediate. Yeah, that'd be, he would be perfect at that, because there's nothing he couldn't keep going. That's what he'd do in the groups. He'd be the one to keep something going. If it started to die down, Mark would stir it back up again. I'd be kicking him under the table. Let it go, man. But he would. That's just the way he was. So that is the perfect role for him. And then if it started dying a little, he'd throw something out himself. And no doubt in my mind. I can see it today.
I know it really hurt him when that gig was over. And in truth, he never really found that next way. And I feel bad about that, because I believe there were people in Nashville that wanted to hear him, that knew the knowledge that he had. And that part for me is very sad.
George, it's the part of life that is hard for me. As a person, if you don't enjoy your work and you don't have pride in what you're doing, it's hard to make it. I always said I never worked a day in my life. I was one of the lucky ones. I enjoyed it. When you lose that, and not because you wanted to lose it, that is hard. I can understand that getting him, and especially in your latter years, that makes it even tougher.
Billy, you never really came in contact with Mark much, did you?
George, I didn't, but I remember listening to him, Kevin, and Frank every morning, 7th and 8th grade. I mean, that was what you listened to.
7th and 8th grade?
Yeah, 7th, 8th grade, early high school. I remember listening to Mark and Frank and Kevin in the mornings. And, I mean, they were perfect. All three of them, they were perfect together. And, still listen to him when they put Blaine in there, I think later in his career at 104.5. But, I mean, they were just the trio. That was the trio.
Those three had an incredible chemistry. And like a lot of good things that go on, it's sad that it couldn't, go 30 years, but such is life. 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah.
Watson, what are we getting here?
He'd have to be a great-great-grandchild of me, I guess. I don't know.
Good Lord. Well, I wanted to do this because, number one, Mark's been a great friend. How many times have I gotten a phone call at 10 o'clock at night when, truthfully, I want to go to sleep, and it's Mark, and when he calls, that isn't going to happen anytime soon. But he always had an agenda of things. It would start Yankees, might get to the Braves. It always got to the Predators. He had very strong opinions there of the good and the bad. I make no bones about it. I'm going to miss Mark.
Well, it's going to be hard on you, George, because To the rest of us, to me especially, he's a legend in what he did. But to you, you add the friendship to that.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to make it hard for you. And I know he appreciated your friendship. Anytime I'd ever see him or something, your name would, good or bad, your name would always come up. So
it wasn't always good, was it?
Not always good or bad. That's what I said. But your name would always come up. So I know this is hard for you.
Yeah, it was. I'll say this: it was hard to get the phone call yesterday. That is one of the harder moments, man. When the phone call ended, I just was stunned. I don't know any other way to say it. I was just stunned.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of Nashville is. I think a lot of Nashville will be.
I appreciate the fact that so many of you who have listened to him and enjoyed him have gone on social media and really praised him. I think, well, I know Mark would feel very good about that. As they say, job well done, my good and faithful servant. We'll go to the break, and then we'll figure out where we're headed next. This is Main Street Media Television.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentist. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and
I've done sports. I've been a photographer. I've been an editor. I've been a producer. I've been a reporter. I've been an anchor. I mean, I've done every job you could possibly imagine this. And so sports was a way to have fun and be different. But then I realized community is where it's at, and community and local and doing places and going, seeing people. And, sports, you go to a stadium, everybody celebrates and they go their different ways. But community-wise, there's so much going on.
At Sumner Funeral and Cremation, our mission is to serve families as our own, celebrate the life of their loved one, and help begin the healing process.
My whole family, including my wife and my mom and siblings, were very happy with the treatment that we received. I would highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation.
We offer funeral, burial, cremations, and pre-planning services.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Looky there. As we welcome all of you back, Brian Stewart joins us to talk a little realty. How are you?
I'm doing great, George. How's things going with you today?
Good. You know, I enjoyed watching Ohtani get knocked around a little Friday night. How about that?
The seventh inning, the Braves just opened it up on them. Unfortunately, with the loss yesterday didn't help us much, but you know, hopefully we take care of business in Philly tonight and get back to a half game back, maybe, hopefully.
Speaking of taking care of business, tell me where you want to go with this today.
Well, you know, y'all were just talking about it, and George, I know you were good friends with Mark. I didn't know Mark personally, but I'm like Billy. I was not in the 7th and 8th grade listening to Mark, but I was listening to him in the mornings with Frank and everybody, and it was Mark was a special guy, and he is truly going to be missed in the sports talk and it just talk radio and just him as a person. Everybody's going to miss him. Truly a blow for Nashville, and I want to pass my condolences on to his family and all his friends, and just let them know, you know, praying for him.
Amen.
So what I wanted to talk about today, if we have a minute here, is I wanted to tell you about these community events that we have coming up. Tomorrow, Sumner Realtors, along with One Stop Realty, is going to be holding a blood drive for the community. We have 26 participants that are going to be showing up tomorrow between 10 and 3. There should be some walk-in slots. So if anybody is in the Hendersonville area tomorrow and they want to give blood, please come by. I will be there helping to register. It's going to be a great event. This is something we do every year, trying to give back to the community. We also have the Haunted Hustle 5K benefit and Habitat for Humanity, Sumner County. That'll be coming up, and that's October 29th. And that is an exciting race. It's family friendly. The live registration is already up. So just look for Haunted Hustle 5K in Sumner County, and you'll be able to come out there and join us and give back to Habitat.
Beautiful.
George, we got to get you in that.
Probably not. Probably not. Brian, how do they reach you?
615-822-0750 is the office. 615-440-7011 is my cell. We're on the internet at onestoprealtytn.com. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram. Please give us a like and follow. We will not disappoint you with our real estate knowledge.
And I will echo that. Brian, thank you. And thank you for the nice words on Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all have a great day, George. Thank you.
You too. Take care. Okay, let's do this. Let's put the phone number up on the line. We'll try to grab 2 or 3 calls if they're out there and available. I want you to jump in. There is the phone number, 615-588-2998. And that is our phone number. So when you hear the system, it will ask you to identify yourself and what it is you want to talk about. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll get you on the air. So we ready to start?
Let's do it, George.
Watson, are you ready? Beautiful. Let's go, Jack in Brentwood. Jack, how are you today?
Try that again, George.
Okay, Jack in Brentwood, are you there?
All right. Can't hear Jack.
That's a tragedy. What happened to Jack?
Not sure, George. Wanted to talk about Kevin Durant potentially going to the Celtics.
Well, Watson, let's you and I talk about it, even though Jack isn't available for the moment. Kevin Durant caught a lot of crap when he went to Golden State because a lot of people said, well, he took the easy road out. You know, he knew that it was a stacked deck at Golden State. And so when they won titles, he really didn't get a lot of credit for it.
No, and I think that's wrong. I mean, I thought he had a lot to do with that. And he played fantastic when he was on the West Coast. So I don't know what else to say other than that's wrong, because he was a big part of that team.
Oh, absolutely. I think the thing that drove him out of there was he realized that no matter what he did at Golden State, that was always going to be Steph Curry's team, and nothing he did was ever going to change that.
That disappointed me. I've always, as a coach, harped on individual commitment to a group effort. That's been my deal forever. Got that from Vince Lombardi many years ago. Yes, I'm that old. Individual commitment to a group effort. And when you're not getting enough credit, and all he did, and he should have stayed right there, George, and been a team guy. He was just as important, if not the most important, through that time. And I thought that was his ego making a big mistake in leaving there myself.
So then he goes to Brooklyn, where he thinks he's going to pull kind of this LeBron, team LeBron kind of thing with Kyrie Irving. I think he really underestimated what a whack job Kyrie Irving can be. Irving's a great basketball player. Nobody questions that. But he's caused problems virtually everywhere he's been.
Yeah. And place hadn't won. I mean, the reason he left Oklahoma City to me was he wanted to win a championship. He's on a team winning championships, and they're going to keep winning championships. And then he goes to Brooklyn. I mean, ego took over is all I can say. I don't know if he made more money. I'm sure he did. There's a point in time, how much have you got to make? But biggest mistake he ever made, and for his career, in my opinion, George, is leaving Golden State. And now he's going to have a tough time getting back. If he can hit the Celtics, he lucked out. He hit the lottery, in my opinion, because he can win another one there.
So do you think this move, if indeed this happens to Boston, is this him trying to make a better legacy when it's over?
I thought that's why he went to Golden State. As everybody, when you're a great player, you're not a great player till you win championships, George. You're just not a great player unless you win championships in professional sports. That's the way I feel about it. And so if he wants he's got a second shot here. I'd beg to go to Boston if I could pull it off if I'm him.
Oh, I think this is going to be a really interesting little maneuver, because let's face it, everybody thought it was Miami Heat or Phoenix Suns. Now all of a sudden you got a team in Boston. They get him. They look like the best going, period.
They may be picked over Golden State next year, George. I'm not sure they wouldn't be.
I mean,
if that happens. So let's watch it and see. And if he does, stay there a while, try to win some championships.
Give me a couple of thoughts here. I'm stalling around a little bit. By the way, when we get to the bet of the day, are you aware of what happened on Friday?
Yeah, I think that you won, right? But it was wild.
Oh, no, that was Thursday.
That was Thursday. I don't know Friday then. What happened?
We had issues. I'll wait until we get to that.
I want to hear the issues.
Oh, I know you do. Because you're going to pound on me.
I could near guess what you'll pick tonight. This one will be a gimme. I mean, it's going to be one of the top dogs against one of the bottom dogs. I can tell you right now. I know what you're going to do. And I'd bet my house on that's what you're going to do on this one today.
I really don't like your attitude.
It's not attitude. You're trying to get out of the hole, man.
I am trying to get out
You're
of the
trying to get out of the hole, so I know what you're going to pick tonight. This ain't going to be one of them, I'll make it a little harder on myself tonight. You're going for a give me tonight.
Watson, well, not quite the way you think, but you're on the right path. Give me a couple of thoughts before we go to this final break. The Titans open training camp tomorrow. Just your thoughts on where they are, because I know you think they have that whatever level they ended last season on, that they're not as good today as they were at that point.
I don't think they are, and I think there's a team that is better in the division that's improved themselves enough now to be a factor in that being the Colts. And the A.J. Brown deal, easy for me to say. It's not my money. I would have paid him. You don't let that guy leave. I just don't let that guy leave. I mean, he is just coming into being a superstar. And now we got a rookie that's got to take that spot. Is the offensive line better? Is Taylor Lewan going to play? Can he make it a year? He's had 3 years in a row now where he's really been banged up. The offensive line has struggled to pass protect. Where's Ryan Tannehill after, he was on cloud 9 and rolling confidence sky high. He has taken it on the chin since that last game. Where's he going to be? Is Derrick Henry, the old Derrick Henry again? He's now, 30 maybe, right in there, major injury. Is he going to be the old Derrick Henry for another year, maybe 2? I don't see going in, I don't have them as high as I did last year. I thought they had the division easy, and it was just going to be what they did in the playoffs. I can't even completely say they got the division this go-around.
Fair enough. We'll go to the break, and then the recap of Friday's humiliation. Really hacked off about what went on in that one, but ready to rebound with a win tonight. Stick around. This is Main Street Media Television.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with 16 subspecialized physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services, including interventional procedures. Call us at 615-791-2630. We're Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee. High-tech care with a hometown touch.
For Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Durant Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DurantRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DurantRadonMitigation.com.
I think journalism is like politics. It's all local, and I think Main Street Media has really hit on something that I've been preaching for 50 years. And keep the news local, right local stories for local readers. And that's what I like about Main Street Media. I finally found somebody who agrees with me philosophically about concentrate on local subjects, local topics, and you'll bring your readers in.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Friday was humiliating.
What did you do? Let's hear it.
Well, the Phillies were at home against an inferior team, the Cubs. And the line really was not all that big. And so Cubs got out to a 1-0 lead. At the time, I never dreamed that I would have to explain a 15-2.
Ooh.
15-2.
That was ugly.
Ooh.
That's embarrassing.
Oh, I wish I'd been on.
Pitiful.
I would have had fun with that one.
I didn't have any fun. I kept looking at the score, it was 6-2, and I'm thinking, okay, 2-run homer, get closer. It was embarrassing.
Did you call him a farce, or what did you call him?
No, I will tell you what I think about the Phillies, though. I don't think it's a coincidence that every team Bryce Harper is on underachieves. If you look in Washington, it was only when he left that they won a world title. They were every bit as good for a couple, 3 years before that. He's gone to Philly. You can call it what you want. They are a bunch of underachievers, and I think he is the common denominator of why it is that every team he's on underachieves. How about that?
That's rough.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
That's rough. Are you taking somebody against the Phillies tonight? Or what
why don't we
do it?
Just see, by the way, the record now is 3-6. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Billy, what does that do as far as if I wanted to be in a bowl game?
You gotta roll off 3 straight here, George.
Just to be bowl eligible.
Yep.
Okay. So, Watson, we're going with what on paper is a blowout.
Of course.
But look what I did.
That's a gimme.
No, it's not a gimme.
It's a gimme.
No, look at what I put on there.
-1.5.
Yeah, it's a little different. -1.5.
Okay.
The line on the game straight up is Dodgers like 300.
Well, you at least did make it to where we got to watch it to see. I mean,
absolutely.
Gonsolin.
Tony Gonsolin had basically an issue, shall we say, in the All-Star game.
Oh, and you frauded him to death.
Well, you know what? That was ridiculous. Shouldn't have happened. I should have won that game. I should have been at least 4-5 going in. Anyway, I need him to redeem himself tonight. Go Dodgers, win by 2 or more.
Oh, boy. I mean, this is what he does, Billy. He blasts the guy, and then he picks him. I mean, let's just hope the guy can't hear this show. He doesn't listen to this show.
If Gonsolin wins,
He calls him a fraud, then he picks him.
He's the savior instead of a fraud if he wins tonight.
You know what? I'm ready to get this show over with.
I'm sure you will.
Watson, I want you to clean up your attitude. Be prepared to congratulate me tomorrow on a win to get me to 4-6. Yeah.
We went over again on the stat of the day, so
we're off to a great start.
Tell Billy not to put that one on the screen. We don't want to know that record.
Listen, we'll do all this again tomorrow. You try to behave until then.
I'll try my best.
Okay, thank you all for joining us. This is Main Street Media Television.